10 little Indian boys went out to dine. One choked his little self, and then there were 9. 9 little Indian boys sat up very late. One overslept himself, and then there were 8. 8 little Indian boys traveling in Devon. One said he'd stay there, and then there were 7. 7 little Indian boys chopping up sticks. One chopped himself in halves, and then there were 6. 6 little Indian boys playing with a hive. A bumblebee stung one, and then there were 5. 5 little Indian boys going in for law. One got in chancery, and then there were 4. 4 little Indian boys going out to sea. A red herring swallowed one, and then there were 3. 3 little Indian boys walking in the zoo. A big bear hugged one, and then there were 2. 2 little Indian boys sitting in the sun. One got fizzled up, and then there was 1. 1 little Indian boy left all alone. He went and hanged himself, and then there were none. All right, everybody. I hope that little poem didn't depress you as much as it depressed me, but that's kind of the mood we're in right now. So I'm going to be reviewing the book And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I don't know if you've read it. I'll try to keep this mostly spoiler free. This one is very different than all the other Agatha Christie's. It is a huge downer, and there's not really any bright points. It is incredibly atmospheric, and that's my biggest negative. I'm not really the thriller type. I don't really read those kinds of books, but it was definitely captivating, but it's definitely dark. So don't read this book if you're sensitive to that kind of thing, if you're sensitive to murder and to trauma, that kind of thing. It's definitely a bunch of very broken people who have had horrible things in their past and in their present. So that's basically my biggest warning to you. If you are sensitive to that, I wouldn't read this book. It is definitely not like other Agatha Christie's where there's a lot of positives and a lot of great characters. Like, basically everyone is flawed. So it is kind of grimdark, which is more of a fantasy term, I think. But it is definitely not happy and cheery. So just go into it kind of expecting that, and I think you'll be fine. Some of the characters are hard to keep straight. You go in with 10 main characters and kind of 11, and 1 or 2 of them I did get mixed up with. But the main ones, obviously, like the main 7, I think were just fine. It's just like maybe 3 I kind of got mixed up with. So just kind of go in knowing that that's going to happen. I don't know if you're a notes kind of person, but like each character has their own backstory. So sometimes that was a touch confusing. But I think that's also that I'm kind of in a stressful time of my life right now, stressful season. So maybe if I had read it in a different season, it would have been fine. But summer is really, really hard for me and a lot of work. So it might have been partly that I just didn't have the brain space to keep everything straight. But those are really all the negatives. It's really not a lot. Some people will love the dark atmosphere, and yeah, I really don't think there's hardly anything negative to say about this book. So let's go to the positives. The positives are definitely the atmosphere. You just feel like you're there in this book. It is written so amazingly, like all Agatha Christie's. The suspense is just from the first word, just like all of her other works. However, it is not the normal Agatha Christie formula, which is also really, really great. You are not reading just like, oh, it's just another Agatha Christie. This is totally different. The formula is completely different. The beginning, middle, and end are very different than all of her other books that I've read. each character has their own mystery, which is really, really fun. It's not just one mystery, it's really 10 whole mysteries that you get little glimpses of piece by piece by piece. And the fact that they're jumping around between characters really keeps the pace moving, which I love so much. You know, I like a quick pace book. And yeah, so each character's plot or character story is revealed piece by piece by piece. So you're just like having these little layers, like you just meet the characters, and then little layers up, and then little layers up, and little layers up until the end. It's like all revealed. So it's like peeling an onion, but not just one onion. There's like 10 onions, which is so much fun. Um, it's really hard to put down until the very end. So this version I had was only 170 pages, I think, and the last 70 pages. So that's like more than a third of the book at the end. Like the before even the 2/3 mark, it was incredibly hard to put down. Like it was an amazing book. So before even the 70 book page mark, I think I read that in like one day because it's just so incredible. Um, as soon as you get towards the end, you're like, I have to know what happens. Um, so I was just like walking around my house trying to do things, but also read, which is not like me. I'm like a read in chunks kind of gal, not like a read all day kind of gal. And this book really was very difficult to put down. So yeah, that's a huge plus. If you like darker stories, 100% pick this up. You will adore it if you like darker stories. And I'm not really one to like darker stories, and I still enjoyed it. So there you go. So that is all my spoiler free thoughts. I don't think I'll go into spoiler thoughts. If you know this book, I think I hinted at enough that um, I'll just say my favorite character was the younger female of the group. If you know, you know. But yeah, all the I think all my thoughts are non-spoilery. It's just a great book, so pick it up. Yeah, definitely. Unless you're really triggered by a lot of darker things, then don't. But I'm triggered by a lot of darker things, and I was okay. So yeah, highly recommend this book. Another Agatha Christie, really, really close to the top. I'm almost done with 10 Agatha Christie's, and at that point, I'll do a ranking, which I'm very excited about. All right, I'll see you then. Bye.